Hey, everybody. Welcome into the Billikens Central postgame show here on STL Sports Central, presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. My name is Eric Sontag, and I'm joined by Ashley Wright. Billikens now 11-1 on the season. They beat New Hampshire 93-79. SLU now off to its best start since the 2011-2012 team that began the season 12-1. That was a team that went to the second round of the NCAA tournament. I still think Billiken fans are feeling optimistic that this season could be heading in a similar direction. But man, that was a very flat performance today that left a lot to be desired. I think everyone is just breathing a sigh of relief after that one. So let us know what you think on this game and this team. Get involved in the live chat, and we'd be happy to read your comments and discuss. Also, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the STL Sports Central YouTube channel if you haven't already. Ashley, welcome on in. Good to be with you. It definitely was not pretty by any stretch, but the Billikens hang on. They survive, and they get the win. Just give us your opening thoughts on this game.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on. Tough one. That final score definitely isn't indicative of the battle that we were able to see here earlier today. I think New Hampshire coming out and smothering the Billikens around the perimeter was a little much for the Billikens to bear initially. They were playing a little stagnant on the offensive end, but obviously able to figure it out and extend that home game win streak to 9.
Yeah, it really was, as Samuel House says, New Hampshire, a basketball powerhouse. We should be proud about hanging on. No, we should not be proud about hanging on. The Billikens did not have their best stuff today. Of a win is a win, though. Man, there were a few turning points in this game, and then let's get to those right now. They're a great sponsor here on the show of Billikens Central postgame. It is Home Bank, and from business lending to everyday banking, Home Bank has been with us since day one as a trusted partner here at STL Sports Central. Business isn't just about numbers, it's about relationships, and with Home Bank, those relationships make all the difference. Home Bank is the team behind our team at STL Sports Central. You can visit them at myhomebank.bank. That's myhomebank.bank. Or you can give them a call at 855-577-2001. That's Home Bank. Member FDIC, more than a bank. They are your business partner. And, of course, they are the sponsor of our money moment of the game. So what was the big play that stands out to you from this one? Let us know in the chat. And, Ashley, I will ask you the same thing. When you think back on what we saw today, what stands out to you as your money moment of the game?
It was definitely that second half three-pointer by Brady Dunlap on the right wing through contact as well, able to cap off a 10-0 run for SLU. I think that was the play that absolutely shifted the momentum in SLU's favor.
Yeah, it's all about Brady Dunlap. Yeah, the game was tied at 51 with about 13 minutes to go. And he hits a three to put the Billikens ahead for the final of, it was 23 lead changes in the game. And that was the final one as he hits that three. They get the stop, and as you mentioned, he comes back down, hits another three as he's getting fouled to make it 57-51. The Bills stretched the lead out a little bit after then, but then New Hampshire, they just wouldn't go away. They cut it to 4 again, and then Dunlap hit another three to put SLU back up by 7. He finishes with 18 points today, 4 of 8 from the field, 4 of 6 from three-point range. Brady Dunlap, I think, was definitely the MVP of this game, and it was great to see because the Billikens are super deep. They go 9 deep on this team, but he has kind of been one of those guys probably in the 8 or 9 spot where they have really 7 guys that are averaging, I believe, between 8 and 13 points a game. He's not one of those guys, but I'm not sure they win that game today without Brady Dunlap.
No, exactly. It felt like kind of that next man up mentality with a pretty off night from some of the guys that we're used to seeing on this Billikens team. But this is just the second double figure game for Brady Dunlap. But I think it's nice to know that you have this much depth and this many options on this Billikens team, and to be able to rely on that, at this point in the season where conference play is coming up and then you're gearing up for March, that's very important.
Boy, it really is. And, another moment that really stood out to me where New Hampshire, once again, they'd cut it to 3 with about 9 minutes to go. I thought another unsung hero of the game, and again, not one of the top scorers in this team, Paul Otieno, I thought had a really nice game. He had 7 rebounds in just 13 minutes of action. And when New Hampshire cut to 3, Otieno got an offensive rebound, kicked it out to Ishan Sharma, and he drilled 3 to put SLU back up 6. with about 9 minutes to go. So you're right. There's a lot of guys that we see really, step up and have big games, but they just didn't really have it today. And I thought Dunlap especially, but then also Otieno, I thought it's a big moments to really help save this game.
Yeah, like you said, Otieno being able to crash the glass as he was able to come in and do, that's extremely important, especially against this physical New Hampshire team that we saw. Wasn't scared to really bring that defense, that pressure. So to be able to clean the glass, get some extra possessions, and really kick the ball out for some to put some important points up on the board, that was big for SLU today.
No doubt about it. We also got a comment here from Eggplant Emojis. Thanks for joining us, Eggplant Emojis. If they had only held on against Stanford, but still, solid win that lets the A-10 know the Bills mean business in their house. I would not call today a solid win. They were favored by about 35.5 points. They end up winning the game by 14, and obviously it was much closer than that. But look, you're just not going to have your best stuff some nights. I think this kind of screamed flat spot on the surface. They played their A++ game last time out against Bethune-Cookman, where they're just play incredibly offensively and defensively. It's your last game before Christmas. You got, a team that's one of the worst teams in the country coming into your house. I think the flat spot was a little bit predictable today, but still, like, it took the Billikens way too long really to get going today.
I don't really feel that the type of game that they had today was alarming. Like you said, at this point of the season, you're about to hit a break. A really great game out there against Bethune-Cookman. I think the important thing is they were able to still find a way to win through the adversity. Obviously, shots aren't falling in the first half. It's not going your way. Coming out in the second half, hitting 7 of 17 threes, really getting back to that SLU basketball that we're used to seeing says a lot about this team.
Samuel Howe in the chat saying he's ready for January and February conference play, and then let's go dance. And I still think it's very, very possible. Yeah, it's just one game. It's going to happen to every team where you have a close call that you're not really expecting. And so I think this is one of those you just chalk up. Let's get a win. Let's survive. Let's move on. I do notice that SLU, they started today 35 in KenPom. I thought their performance today was going to hurt them worse, but they only dropped 5 spots. They're number 40 in KenPom with still, more action still to come today. But the net rankings have been a huge story to see that SLU has started the day number 20 in the net rankings. I'm sure that performance today is going to hurt them a little bit. But overall, the top-rated mid-major team in the country is, of course, Gonzaga. Mm-hmm. The second next highest-rated mid-major team is the Billikens. And so, one performance today, definitely not good, but I still think this team has a very good shot to come dancing, to go dancing come March. What do you think?
Yeah, likewise. As we mentioned earlier, depth is extremely important, and that is exactly what St. Louis has. Depth, players that you can rely on. I love that Dunlap has come alive in these back-to-back games, first Bethune, now tonight here against New Hampshire. That says a lot about this Billikens team.
Let's dig a little bit deeper into this one, looking at the numbers. And I know one thing that really stood out to me, the pace that SLU likes to play at, they could not get into their rhythm today. New Hampshire was just very methodical offensively. I thought they were getting way too many open looks from three, especially in the first half. I would have loved to seen the Billikens get after them defensively to force tougher shots and also to get turnovers, to get the pace going, to get some transition buckets. And the fast break point stat just really stood out to me in this one. SLU, as of yesterday at least, they were 6th in the country in fast break points per game. The Billikens got dominated in that stat today. New Hampshire wins that stat today 22-9. So the pace really just was not there today against the Wildcats.
No, it wasn't. And I think that's a testament to the perimeter D that the Wildcats was able to play as well. Obviously getting those long rebounds and just leaking out, able to really play well in the transition game offensively. New Hampshire just took advantage of that. SLU, like you said, was pretty stagnant on the offensive end. I think when New Hampshire was able to close out beyond the arc, SLU just kind of stood there. There was no ball movement. There was no off-ball movement either. So it made it a lot easier for New Hampshire to really cover SLU in that half-court set.
Yeah, and Samuel House says, tip of the cap to the Wildcats. They did play extremely well today. I wrote in my preview for STLSportsCentral.com this morning for the game just how horrific New Hampshire is offensively. They came in from 2-point field goal percentage 345th in the country, shooting 44%, 3-point field goal percentage. 336 in the country at 28.2%. So they're 28% from three for the season. Today, they shoot 40% at 12 of 30 from deep, and that really kept them in the game. Overall, New Hampshire shoots 46% from the field. So they definitely had an outlier performance for them, but I also think, credit to them, but I don't think the Billikens did enough to force the pace today. They really need to get after teams more defensively because I think New Hampshire was just way too comfortable.
Yeah, like I said, not rotating. There wasn't a sense of urgency that we're used to seeing from the Billikens, and it just made it easier for New Hampshire to exploit the Billikens in a set where it favored New Hampshire. The first half, I really feel like favored New Hampshire's style of basketball, just sharing the ball, really getting some easy and open looks. It wasn't until about that second half where the Billikens really decided to tighten it up.
Yeah, and then offensively for SLU, they've been extremely efficient offensively this season. They were third in the country in 2-point percentage last season. Billikens started today seventh in the country in 2-point percentage at 62.5%. Josh Schertz, he wants that team to be relentless attacking the rim. He wants layups, dunks, or three-pointers. Those are the shots he wants in this offense. So, they're 62.5% from 2-point range this season. Today, just 50%. 17 of 34. I thought the Billikens really lacked that aggressiveness in being relentless in attacking the rim.
I did too. I felt that they settled for a lot of jump shots, and that kind of got them out of their rhythm. But like you said, there were some fast break opportunities, or not fast break opportunities, but some opportunities off of the rebounds where they were able to leak out and kind of extend themselves, really play fast there in the second half. Again, it's one game. I'm not too concerned, but I think the Billikens just need to be able to rely on what was able to have them successful to this point of the season, rather than letting a team like New Hampshire kind of get them off of their game.
I think too, this could be good for them in the long run. That SLU, I know I've heard Schertz talk about, he's not talking to the players about the net rankings and the metrics and what a good position they've put themselves in. But these are college kids. I got to imagine they're aware of the lot of love that they're getting across the country. And so I hope that the guys got humbled today. They're going to get, a little bit of time off here for Christmas. You got Principia coming up next Sunday before the A-10 play starts today. So I think a little humble pie might be good for this team heading into the holidays.
Yeah. And how many times have you seen teams kind of get hit with adversity and just lay down and let it die? That wasn't this St. Louis team tonight. That's why I say there are some bright spots from today's matchup against New Hampshire. And I think this is the point in the season where you really want to see where your game plan is exploited, because now you can really tighten it up before heading into conference play.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I think New Hampshire put some things on tape today for other teams to look at, which you didn't expect that heading into the game. But yeah, SLU just really struggled to be in attacking the rim. They did not do a good enough job about that. Looking at some of the players individually, we talked about Brady Dunlap, really the MVP of this game. Robbie Avila, very, very good game. 18 points. He's 5 of 10 from the field, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. He also has 6 assists. Dion Brown doing Dion Brown things. There was a lot of moments I thought, especially in the first half too, where I'm like, okay, is this the spot where where the Billikens really pull away? New Hampshire kept coming back, but it was usually Dion Brown that was making a play where he was really getting the energy going for this team, like he has all year. He finishes with 15 points and 9 rebounds. You have Trey Green finishes with 12 points and 5 rebounds, just 3 of 9 from 3-point range today. He's really been carrying the load for this team offensively and from 3-point range as of late. Quentin Jones, decent game from the floor, 9 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, only 2 turnovers. Amari McCautry, he had some nice contributions in the second half as well, some key offensive rebounds. He had 9 points and 7 rebounds. Ishan Sharma talked about the big 3-pointer that he hit to kind of stretch out that lead. He finishes with 8 points. And Paul Luciano, as I mentioned, big 4 points and a huge 7 rebounds. So rattle off a lot of numbers, a lot of players there. Ashley, kind of who stood out to you other than Dunlap is kind of a big factor in this game?
Yeah, definitely Dion Brown. Being the leader of this team, I felt like he definitely helped with the momentum, kind of helped SLU stay steady during some of those points where it felt like New Hampshire was crawling back and could potentially pull off an upset. 15 points, 9 rebounds, like you said, so almost a double double. I think that's exactly what you need from your veteran leadership in the senior from Dion Brown.
What do you think about this question from Eggplant Emojis? Can the Bills afford 3 conference losses and still get an at-large bid? So they're 11-1. They're gonna beat Principia, where they're gonna be 12-1.
Yeah.
So then 3 conference losses. You end the regular season with 4 losses. What do you think about that?
4 losses doesn't sound bad on paper, right? I just think it depends on which teams in the A10 those 3 losses come from. That's
Yes.
the big question. So I do feel like SLU has put together a good enough first part of the season where 3 losses might not be alarming. You just have to look at where those losses will come from.
It's a great point. There's a lot of solid teams in this league when you look
Mhm.
at the net and KenPom, but there are some dregs in this league too. One result yesterday that hurt was Loyola winning against Santa Clara, which that's good for the A10 that Loyola wins, but that Santa Clara victory that the Billikens have doesn't look quite as impressive. Loyola's been an absolute dumpster fire this year, and so them beating Santa Clara does not help the Billikens cause. I just pulled up KenPom. He projects the Billikens to go 26-5 overall and 14-4 in the A10. I think with what the Billikens have done in non-conference, with where they are, in the metrics right now, in the net and in KenPom, if those losses come against those 4 conference losses come against the better teams in the A10, I think that will be enough to get them an at-large berth. But you're right. There's going to be a lot of pressure anytime you play a team that you were fully expected to win. And we're going to see it right out of the gate in A10 play. New Year's Eve against St. Joe's. The Billikens are projected to win that game 86-68, according to KenPom. So they're going to be favored by about 20 in that game. Can't lose that game. You lose any one of those games, and you pretty much have wiped out a lot of good work, because just kind of the way that the college basketball system is set up, it is not friendly to these mid-majors. You can't really have many slip-ups against bad teams.
Exactly. My sentiments exactly. I totally agree with everything you just said there. It just totally depends on how you perform and the opponent that you have across from you.
A little bit more about this game. Another stat that stood out to me was the rebounding. That is something I thought saved the Billikens bacon today. And they've really been a force in this all season long. They're 4th in the country in rebounding margin at plus 13.3 per game. 7th in the country overall in rebounds per game with 43.9. And Billikens do exactly that. They finished with 46 rebounds today. So they beat their season average. And the rebounding margin today plus 15, 46-31. They win the second chance points battle 12-4, which ended up being a big difference in the game too. This was a tight game. I know people are going to see 93-79 if they didn't watch the game and say, oh, probably pretty comfortable win. This was not comfortable at all. And so I thought the rebounding was a big point of emphasis for this team really all season that has helped them rack up all these wins.
Yeah, I would say that was, if not the most important part of the game for the Billikens, one of them for sure, being able to crash the glass, because let New Hampshire get, a couple extra rebounds and this might be a totally different game with the way that they had been able to crawl back. So definitely kudos to St. Louis for crashing the glass and really winning that battle handedly.
Another stat that the Billikens has excelled at all year is free throws. 12th in the country at 78.9%. That was an edge they had in this game in particular. Didn't think it was going to come into play because I thought this would be a blowout, but New Hampshire just 68% from the free throw line, 288th in the country. Heading into the game, that ended up being a big difference too. New Hampshire goes just 61% from the line, 11 of 18, and the Billikens, they shoot a bunch of free throws in the second half and they make them 23 of 31 for 74%. So a little below their season average, but 74%. You'll take that more games than not. That's going to be a huge key for this team because they're going to be closer games coming down the road in the A10.
Yeah, you have to convert at the free throw line. I think that's obviously a spot where SLU can continue to win games as handedly as they have. You just have to be able to first get there, play with some aggression, which you said earlier. We saw a lack of that. And then, what good is playing aggressively if you're not going to convert at the line?
Yep, Got to do it. Got to do it. You got to hit your free throws to win. You got to hit your free throws to cover. Billikens definitely did not cover today, but definitely want to talk about DraftKings because we have sports gambling now live here in Missouri. This is a topic near and dear to my heart because I host a gambling show here on the STL Sports Central YouTube channel. It's Domesticated Gamblers every Wednesday night. We'll actually be on Tuesday night this week with Christmas Eve being on Wednesday. So definitely want to tell you guys about DraftKings. If you haven't signed up for legal sports gambling yet, do it today with DraftKings and take advantage of this awesome offer they have. Of course, DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is now live here in the Show Me State, and now you can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more, all from your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. And right now, new Missouri customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense, just pure action powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. And guys, there are a lot of apps out there. DraftKings truly is my favorite sportsbook. It's the most user-friendly interface, in my opinion. They have tons of betting options and attractive offers on a daily basis. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code STL Sports. New Missouri customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code STL Sports. The crown is yours in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Billikens definitely do not cover the spread today, winning by 14 as a 34.5-point favorite. The game does go over the total, though. The total is 157.5 and ends at 172, so that goes over pretty comfortably. SLU now 7-5 against the spread this season, so still profitable against the number. And the over has gone 8-4 in their games. We're seeing a lot of high-scoring games with this team. I think the over could be a good look for this team in most of their games going forward. Any insight on the gambling aspect of the game here today, Ashley?
I mean, anytime a team is averaging 92 points per game, I would bet the over, right?
That's right. You can never go wrong with that. So, the Billikens, they get some time off here for Christmas. They get a nice little break from Division I play like we talked about. The next game is a week from today against Principia. That's just a little warm-up to get back in game action because after that, time to get into conference play. St. Joseph's and that Hawk mascot that never stops flapping his wings nonstop. He's not allowed to stop flapping. They're going to be in town on New Year's Eve. 3 o'clock game time. It's a great game to go to kick off your New Year's Eve festivities. And as I mentioned, that is a game SLU should win. Ken Palm projects them, I believe it was 86-68. So SLU's going to be favored by about 20. But then after then, it is all like Donkey Kong because the Billikens, their next game on the road is going to be at VCU on January 7th. That on paper is their toughest game remaining on the schedule. And that is a place where SLU has never won in their history. So that is an absolutely massive game that I cannot wait for. I think those are going to be the top two teams in the Atlantic 10 this season. Ashley, just your closing thoughts on this one and just what's to come for the Billikens as we get ready for A10 play.
Yeah, no, like I said earlier, love how the Billikens were able to bounce back, closing today's game on an 8-0 run. That was massive. And I look forward to them kind of taking this game, really learning from where their game plan was exploited and being able to take that information moving forward this season.
I just looked it up in Ken Palm. SLU and VCU back-to-back in the ratings now. SLU is at number 40. VCU is at 41. So, my God, I know me personally, I'm a SLU alum. I graduated there for 2004. SLU was not in the A10 then. At least they were not playing VCU then. I think VCU wasn't in the A10, but that team, they're a thorn in my side. Never went in that damn building, so I'm looking forward to that game on January 7th.
It's never easy playing VCU. Never.
No. So the Billikens going to take care of business here against Principia a week from today. And then, like I said, start their A10 play on New Year's Eve against St. Joe's. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Hit the like button and subscribe to the STL Sports Central YouTube channel if you haven't already. It was ugly, but the Billikens hang on, and they get the win over New Hampshire in this one by a score of 93-79. Slough now 11-1 on the season and off to their best start in 14 years. That's Ashley Wright. I am Eric Sontag. Thanks for being with us, guys. This has been the Billikens Central postgame show here on STL Sports Central, presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours.